Okay, so we're back, Cory. I was asking you about the one paragraph that you wrote about you felt your work was bulky on the facials and that you talked about a fake looking cutback. So I just wanted to ask you what you meant by that and what do you see out there? What was that all about? Like what's a fake looking cutback? Sorry.
So, it started when I poured my stuff up in stone, or I saw it in stone, or I got it back from a doctor. And, I had that moment where I thought I did some amazing looking stuff. And when I got it back, I was just like, oh my gosh, these look so fake.
Oh, so you mean when the crowns were when you saw your crowns poured up in stone?
Right.
That's when you noticed.
So once they were poured up in stone, and then I was able to see the shapes and everything I did, or else I've seen them come back from the doctor after they had taken an impression of, the crowns that were seated and they wanted to do opposing crowns. And I would see them and I'm just like, they don't look natural. They just look dead and fake. And so that started pushing me to open up line angles a little bit more and rounding and trying to do things, because I would see other people's stuff, in stone. And I'm like, that looks pretty good, And I started seeing the same things when it would come to my cutbacks. I don't know if you remember when Empress first came out and they would teach us the old traditional cutback.
Yeah. It was so uniform and just short bit and
uniform, and you have your popo horn peaks, that are just uniform and everything, and you have you do your internal staining, and then we would layer one porcelain over the top of it. And you would just be this translucent look, and it just looked fake. It just looked bad to me. And so I would see pictures of teeth that had these milky transitions, or having filtering through the incisal edge and stuff like that. And that was something that it started to become a goal, that I wanted to make it look a little bit more like that. And so I started getting help from other people, especially on the site, because and the thing, Vaughn, that I realized was people who said they were my friends, and they were like, anything you do, anything you want, I'll help you out. When it came to me building business, I became competition, and people just shut their mouths and they wouldn't help me with anything. And what was amazing to me is I took people like Dane Barlow, that I just barely met and didn't even know. And I reach out to him on the phone, and he's just opening up to me, giving me all these techniques or different ideas on things I could do. I had that happen with just multiple people where I would reach out to him, like Quint, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name right now. Whipple. Who has turned out to actually be probably one of my best friends in this industry, but I didn't even know him before this. And these people would just reach out to me and help give me techniques and strategies and helping me to achieve a better aesthetic, and I think what I realized was I had to put myself out there. I had to make it so that I knew that I was going to fail. I knew what I was showing wasn't perfect, but by knowing what I was doing wrong, I could get help to do better.
Yep, I hear you. So when you're talking about, it says here, I've learned that the only growth we get is through the acceptance that we will always have failures. And if we aren't willing to fail, we're not willing to achieve greatness and growth. So back to the failure part, so you feel like through some of those, would you call those, the way you used to do things, failures, or just chances to get better? Is it, you mentioned it's all in how you look at it too, so that's I look at some of it as failures, but because it's not really what a tooth looks like exactly. So it's a failure to you.
It was a failure to me, but to a lot of people, when I would show them my stuff, they would tell me that it was amazing. It was some of the best stuff they've ever seen. But to me, I would go home and I would just sit and kick myself in the pants, and it would eat me alive while I'm looking at these cases, and I would sit and reminisce in my head